play.
Yeah, this is a little bit of burn here from Erik Johnson, so this will be interesting.
3 copies of Kurt Ape.
Yep.
So there's a lot of similarities to the list that I posted earlier today. He does have a Temple card in, but it's a 3-color beatdown deck.
Yeah, we'll call this one Zoo.
Yeah.
I think Zoo's an accurate name in this deck. There are quite a few burn spells there, but we'll go with Naya Zoo against Teamer Twin here in round number 8.
The definitions are always going to be a little fuzzy, but once there's a Temple Garden involved, I think we're talking Zoo.
And Wild Nicodle.
Yeah.
It's an animal, lives in a zoo.
Kurt Ape.
Now, one thing Erik did not have to start this game was a 1-drop.
His list is, there's a lot of 1-drops. There's Goblin Guy, Wild Nicodle, Monastery Swift Spear, and 3 copies of Kurt Ape. Rare for this deck to miss on turn 1.
And if he doesn't have a 2-drop, he's going to have a really hard time winning. He's going to take 2 off a Temple Garden. And he's just going to pass the turn back? Wow. Not sure if he started this game with 7 cards or not, but when you're playing this kind of strategy, I think you have to mulligan a hand that doesn't have some sort of 1-drop to play.
Yeah, I mean, if you
or
have
even Eidolon.
If you have a lot of burn, maybe, but I'm skeptical of keeps like this.
He's going to Boros Charm Anderson down to 15. Anderson will search up the Misty Rainforest. Todd may think he's against burn right now. That's not actually the case. A lot of creatures on the other side of the table. Steam Vents, untap, play a Hinterland Harbor, pass the turn back.
And this is the kind of matchup where having the twin package is very attractive. Erik doesn't interact very well against a game 1, but Erik can kill very fast. So it's nice to be able to combo out.
There's Wild Nicodle. Looks like that's going to resolve. Lightning Bolt will take care of it, or at least try to. That'll work just fine. Back to Anderson we go. He'll draw a card. So this is one of the matchups where Todd wants to combo out. There's Lightning Bolt going upstairs. Now, Todd looks like he's stuck with at least 1 remand, maybe 2.
But he's had a pretty healthy life total here.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to rush right now.
Todd with a Deceiver Exarch in hand. He's going to play that. Excuse me, Vendilion Click. I take it back. Wants to get a look. Tarka's Command, Lightning Bolt. A lot of burn over there.
And I like putting the bolt on the bottom of the deck here. It's better than the average draw that Erik has. It also means that he can't do much next turn. Unless Todd has access to the combo, in which case he can just sort of let it go.
Yeah. And Todd might be fine with that exchange, which is you bolt my Vendilion Click. I don't care about that.
And I sort of feel like if you're in Erik's spot, once you allow the click to resolve, you sort of have to make your bed with it. I would have just allowed the click to stay in play, try to burn Todd out. Also, it means that Searing Blaze is no longer a productive draw for Erik for the time being because there's no creature in play.
There's Island of Great Revel. Now, the thing here, if you're Todd, your opponent has 2 cards in hand. You know what both of them are. You know they're both the Darkest Commands. So you don't have a ton to worry about. Todd does have a copy of Pestermite in hand. Don't have to worry about Lightning Bolt killing that thing if he has Splinter Twin rolled up.
Looks like he's without land number 4 in any case.
Looks like he's going to tap Temple Garden with Eidolon on the stack. And Johnson going to sacrifice Wooded Foothills.
This seems like a fine spot to Atarka's Command, Todd.
Yeah, get your 3 damage.
Yeah. You'd rather avoid this stuff getting countered if you can avoid it.
That's what he's going to do. So all his damage will be dealt. Now, it looks like Eidolon's still in the stack when all this stuff happens. It looks like Todd does have Splinter Twin in hand, so he's just looking for 4th land and a 2nd red source. That's a breeding pool. Here's an Electrolyze. Get that out of here. That'll trigger the Eidolon so long as Johnson does remember. And now Anderson will get the draw. Deceiver Exarch will be picked up. Pestermite's coming in.
Boros Charm is live.
Yep. There are ways for Anderson to die here. to Goblin Guide. Can get him down to 1.
Yep.
For what it's worth, I think you have to do that, by the way.
It's also not bad to get him down to 1 because it cuts off fetch
That's why you
lands
have
and,
to do
and
it.
untapped dual lands and so forth.
Yeah. Because now if Todd were to be able to work his way into Scalding Tarn, he can Scalding Tarn for Steam Vents and kill him.
Yep.
And that was off the table before if he just fires off a Tarkus command.
There's also an issue of just, you need every spell to resolve from this spot to be able to win the game.
Yeah.
Todd is tapped out. That's a good window to resolve it.
Johnson will draw. We know he's got a Tarkus command, and Boros Charm was the draw. Hello. Trigger. Foothills. Does Todd want to Exarch or does he just want to Bolt?
Tapping low for Exarch is very dangerous.
Yep. Yeah, he's going to go for Exarch. It's time to fire off burn spells for Erik Johnson. There's the Tarkus command. That's Boros Charm. That's going to do it. Erik Johnson with the Tommy Top Deck is going to win game number 1 here over Todd Anderson. Nia Zoo up a game here over Teamer Twin.
Yeah, the sequencing in those sort of spots, you have still a little margin for error there. I think Erik is better served leading out there with the Boros Charm in case Spell Pierce is the card that Todd has.
Sure.
Because then you cut off the Wooded Foothills from being activated.
Yep.
But if he has Spell Snare, maybe it's worse to do it that way.
Yeah.
It's very tricky playing against all the counter spells in Modern.
To the sideboards we go, and we're going to start with Anderson and his 2 Savage Knuckle Blades, 3 Spreading Seas, 2 Dispel, 1 Negate, 1 Counterflux, 2 Ancient Grudge, 1 Vandal Blast, an Izzet Static Caster, a Grim Lavamancer, and a copy of a Rending Volley.
So the best card in the sideboard here is Spreading Seas. I play Zoo a lot, and the mana base is not stable against these kind of cards, especially once you have things like Curd Apes and Wild Nacatls that are demanding that you have particular lands. Really like bringing those cards in. I think the Grim Lavamancer is a fine card for the matchup, and Negate and Dispel are quite good as well.
What does Erik have in his sideboard for his Zoo deck?
2 copies of Skullcrack, a Deflecting Palm, 2 copies of Scab Clan Berserker, 2 copies of Molten Rain, 4 Destructive Revelry, 2 Core Firewalker, 2 copies of Path to Exile. The only cards that strike me as being excellent in the matchup, the 2 copies of Path to Exile. Scab Clan Berserker is a card, in theory you could bring in. Todd's got a lot of spells, but I think it lines up very poorly against Deceiver Exarch, Pester Might, and Tarmogoyf, and Snapcaster Mage. So it's not a card I would bring in here, even though Todd's deck has a lot of spells.
Also, I think it's pretty bad on the draw.
Yes, another factor as well. For matchups like Storm or some of the other combo decks in the format, it seems like it'd be very good, but probably not here.
Well, these players will sideboard up. Anderson will be on the play here for game number 2 in just a moment. But very quickly, we'll talk about the Star City Games newsletter. It's your source for Magic the Gathering news. You can find Todd and a bevy of other players in there.
Yeah, all this content cultivated by Cedric here. You get all the latest information on the Open Series, including a match of the week. You get exclusive deck lists from some of our premium writers and an exclusive Cardboard Crack comic. Best of all, sign up for free right now at starcitygames.com/newsletter.
As we do get ready here for game number 2, you do see Anderson, number 9 on our Season 3 leaderboard. Loves Teamer Twin. Off to another great start with the deck, too.
Yep, 6-1. Most likely locked up a spot in day 2 already.
I'm curious about how the Savage Knuckle Blades have been for him.
He told me they were for Liliana decks.
Okay.
And you could probably bring him in here as well. I think that Todd is better served being on the Splinter Twin plan than he is on the, removal spells and Tarmogoyf type of plan here, because the matchup can be very fast. But Knuckleblade is still bigger than anything Erik brings to the table. And you can play defense with it if you're on defense, or if you're on some sort of removal plus Snapcaster Mage draw, it can be your clock.
Well, Todd has had a lot of accomplishments with this deck and a lot of other things around the Open Series. 3 invitational top 8s with a win in 2012. We see 22 Open Series top 8s. That's a lot.
That's a huge number of those.
He also has 4 Grand Prix top 8s. Has most Open Series top 8s of all time. That won't surprise you with 22 of those things. Married to Callie Anderson. Fantastic member of organized play and the first one to ever win an Open Series event. And as you two have discussed, Self-proclaimed best NFL blitz player ever.
Yeah, we were talking. I played a lot when I was, freshman in college and a little bit after that. And I thought I was pretty good. I don't have a sense I didn't play in tournaments or whatever, but relative to the people I was playing with, I won more than I lost, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty good. And Todd just started asking me about what plays I like to run, and there's a level of seriousness about his NFL blitz that I do not share.
Yeah, what's your strategy? I don't know, push the buttons?
I don't know, someone's open, trying to give him the ball.
Todd takes his NFL blitz very, very seriously. Which, you know what? I can respect that.
It's good to have passions.
Back when I was younger, I took my video games very seriously, so I understand where he's coming from. I was not one to be trifled with when it came to Donkey Kong Country.
Mm-hmm.
Don't interrupt me when I'm playing, because I'm trying to win the game. Todd going to take a mulligan here.
And I caught a glimpse of Todd's hand here. He has brought in the knuckle blades.
Yeah, Big Nux is in there. I think it's a good card for the matchup. Good blocker, able to close the games out quick.
It's not quite as good as Tarmogoyf because it's a lot slower, but it's a lot of the same card, and Tarmogoyf's one of your better cards here.
And a good way to just brick wall this Zoo deck is Goyfin and Knuckleblade.
Yeah.
They're going to have some real trouble beating that, I think. It's not like they want to use their burn spells on those creatures. See what 6 Anderson can find. You have to imagine that Todd still has the combo in his deck, too.
Yeah,
For
sure.
The I win factor.
Yeah. Some of these games are going to be real fast, and it's great for Todd to have access to the combo.
Yeah, Remand, I can't imagine is in his deck anymore, so he's done some heavy sideboarding. He's going to keep his opening hand. Doesn't look too thrilled about it as he starts off with the breeding pool. Looks like he might be a little land heavy. What did Foothills here for Johnson? Look at a Sacred Founders. He goes down to 17.
It looks like Erik has brought in his copies of Destructive Revelry. I don't mind that so much in the matchup. It is good against the combo. The problem is Teamer Twin can beat you straight up. There's some builds of Twin, like Grixis Twin and Blue-Red Twin, where they have to combo you out because of your speed and the way their deck is set up. It's a lot riskier here because Todd can win the game just with things like Tarmogoyf and removal spells.
Serum Vision's being played here by Anderson. He'll scry now. We'll see where those cards are going to go. Looks like both are headed to the bottom. He's got plenty of lands to play, it appears. Stomping Ground only battlefield tapped. Pass it back over to Johnson, who started things off with the Monastery Swift Spear. Nakatl the draw.
It looks like Erik has also brought in his core Firewalkers.
Yeah, it's funny, even now, Erik didn't play very many creatures game one. Mm-hmm. But he is a much more creature-centric deck than I think maybe Todd realizes, as there's Nakatl now. Spreading sees the draw. That's a doozy.
This card's really punishing on Zoo decks.
Yeah, that's... Yikes. Shut off the white source.
I mean, it looks like Erik does have another land in his hand. He can at least go get another Sacred Foundry. But this probably shuts off the core Firewalkers for a while, at the minimum.
Sulfur falls, pass the turn back. Johnson will draw. I just drew a copy of Sacred Foundry, so everything's okay. Hey, he had a Wooded Foothills, too. He'll sacrifice that. And there's a Foundry. It's going to enter the battlefield untapped.
And this is a pretty good spot for Destructive Revelry. Knock off that Spreading Seas, get a Prowess trigger.
Yeah. Deal 2 damage, too.
Erik may want to save it in his hand as insurance for the combo, and I think that's probably what he's thinking about right now.
Here come the beatdowns. That'll be for 4. I'll just pass the turn back. Being very patient with the Lightning Bolt and Destructive Revelry at this point. Anderson picked up a Steam Fence. Another land here for Todd. See, a little bit frustrated. Looks like he's going to do something he doesn't really want to do, which is Snapcaster Mage and Serum Visions. He'll play it off Hinterland Harbor in the off chance that he draws a Lightning Bolt.
Dispel also.
Yeah. 2 lands go to the bottom. Might be time for that Revelry. So the only thing I don't like about this is he's kind of missing out on a point of damage with the Swift Spear. I'm not sure how much that matters.
Yeah, because the line of play, The thing about it is, if he attacks, there's a really good chance that Todd puts the Snapcaster Mage in front of the Swift Spear.
Yeah.
And then you get rid of the Snapcaster Mage essentially for free.
Now the Lightning Bolt's going to have to go upstairs, which is fine, but, you know, now maybe you open yourself up to, like, a Pestermite kill.
Right. I would have preferred to untap and play the Revelry. Because Erik had land number 4, so he can still go Destructive Revelry, play Core Firewalker after combat. He still had access to that same line of play.
Now you're working your way into a little more trouble of just kind of getting backdoored into something.
Exactly. He could have left himself with a bolt in the hand. Things are still looking good for Erik, but you know, you can see there's a Splinter Twin in Todd's hand. And if Erik doesn't have a Revelry or a Path or some burn spells to finish Todd off, this game could still get swept out from under him.
And there is a path to victory in Anderson's hand at this point. His other card in hand, other spell, I should say, because he's got a lot of lands, is Spreading Seas. So he could seize into a Deceiver Exarch.
Yep.
Or a Pestermite, and all of a sudden, well, I found a way to try to win this game. I score Firewalker. Anderson will untap. He'll take a draw step here. Scalding Tarn. Gonna play a Spreading Sea. He's got to decide which land he wants to shut down. Take care of the Stomping Ground. Draw a card. Another island. Oh, there's more lands and a Splinter Twin. So he flooded out very, very badly this game, did Todd Anderson. Erik Johnson's going to win this match here over Todd Anderson. 2-0. You can actually see his little surprise on how many lands he drew. And he scribed 4 lands to the bottom, too.
Scribed 4 lands to the bottom, and all the spells he cast were cantrips. 2 Spreading Seas, a Serum Visions, and a Snapcaster Mage, a Flashback Serum Visions. Sometimes it's going to happen.
Erik Johnson moves on to 7-1 here with Naya Zoo. Anderson moves down to 6-2. Certainly a frustrating second game there for Todd, but that's how the cookie